Like, they've been up so much in these games lately. Like, you need to get him in games and keep his arm fresh.
Yeah, but
You can't,
Seattle, it's a 4-game series against Seattle.
you're
Seattle
right.
is not that easy of a team, as we found out
Mhm.
in that
No, they're
ninth
good.
inning. So I don't know. I didn't agree with that move. Not because I thought Holmes was going to blow it. I just figured it was overkill at that point. But
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. With me, as usual, is my co-host Bryan McKeon. I will bring him in a second because there we are. Hey, I know how to work the controls. Hello. We haven't had a loss like this in a while.
No, it's refreshing, right? It sobers you up a little bit.
It does. It does. We'll get into it. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcasting platform you prefer. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, like the video, hit the bell so you're notified when our videos go up. Coming up on today's show, we preview Game 2 against the Mariners. We talk about how fantastic the rotation's been, and it was the case on Monday night as well. But first, I mean, it was bound to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you knew Clay Holmes was going to give up runs at some point in the year. It's funny. I was actually talking on the phone with Emmanuel Barbari, who called the game on the radio tonight, and we were literally saying the exact same thing. Like, at some point, Holmes is going to give up runs, and we were both reiterating the point that we literally made on the show yesterday, where I can't remember a time when a starter had gone this long for the Yankees without giving up a closer or reliever, had gone this long with a 0 ERA. And, I now can't remember the time because it ended today.
Yes, you jinx
this
him.
This was bound to happen, though. I mean, you knew Clay Holmes at some point was going to give up runs. He's still only given up 3 runs on the entire season, or 4 he gave up on the entire season. So, I mean, you knew this. These guys don't last all year and are perfect all year. You knew this was going to happen. I think, what did his ERA jump up to, like 2 now already?
It's like 1.7. It's like 1.74
because of one game, which is crazy. But he'll be fine. This stuff is going to happen.
Yeah, it's just annoying. I'm not sure I like the move of even bringing him in when it was 4-1. I feel like Luke Weaver was fine, and
the problem is you need to get him work. Like, they've been up so much in these games lately. Like, you need to get him in games and keep his arm fresh.
Yeah, but Seattle, it's a 4-game series against Seattle. Seattle is not that easy of a team, as we found out in that ninth inning. So I don't know. I didn't agree with that move. Not because I thought Holmes was going to blow it. I just figured it was overkill at that point. But
in a 3-run lead for him, it's a save situation. This is a set chance that he would have used Chapman every single time, and it's one of those things too where Holmes gets the save in this game and you don't even question it.
True.
So it's like damned if you do, damned if you don't for Boone. I don't hate it.
I was kind of questioning it though, because
you were.
I don't know. Yeah, I was. I was kind of like, I don't know. I feel like this might not be the game you need to use Clay Holmes. I feel like they're going to be closer games in the series, and I don't know. I wasn't feeling it.
No, I certainly hear you. Continuing on what we were going to talk about, we're going to get into it in the second segment, and it's relevant again today. It stayed relevant. Marcus Stroman and the starting rotation with how good it's been, without Gerrit Cole. In the second segment, I'm going to highlight how good it's actually been because it's worth discussing because it's been that level of good. But I mean, Logan Gilbert was fine. The Yankees still were able to put up runs on him. But Stroman, again, 7 1/3, 3 hits. He had the 1 home run later on in the game, which was just a flat out bomb to straight to right center. I mean, straight away right center kind of. 6 strikeouts. It's another example of how this starting rotation it's every night. It's every single night they're going out there, and here's the thing too, that we were complaining about this in early April, and we sound a little foolish now after going back and looking at the episodes, because we were talking about how these guys weren't going deep into games. And I mean, Stacey, can you remember the last Yankee game where a starter didn't get into the 6th? I think it was the Schmidt game where he was complaining about wanting to go the extra inning in Tampa. So I mean, he's been that good. They've been that good, this rotation, and it keeps the bullpen fresh. I think that partly is his fear with Holmes, is he wants to get to use him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're up all these runs all the time, you don't know when you're going to get to use him or not. But Stroman, again, another just outstanding start. The team in general, I mean, the pitching has just been so electric of late.
It's truly amazing what we're seeing from these guys. And it's kind of, I don't want to say it's not infectious. What's the word I'm looking for? And it's almost like a competition too, because when you're in the starting rotation and everyone's pitching really well, you don't want to be the one to blow it. You don't want to be the guy that ends the strong run that they've had. So,
no, and these guys, I mean, they're competitive by nature, right? They're professional athletes, so they're going to compete with each other, and that's healthy. That inner competition. Yeah.
Contagious. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
That inner competition, though, that can breed in that clubhouse is good. Like, it's good for them. You do realize, like, and this is what's crazy, is I don't know if a lot of Yankee fans realize this. Their ERA, their two lowest ERAs are Schmidt and Gil. Those are their two lowest ERAs. So, I mean, you're talking about veterans like Rodón and Stroman and the rest of this rotation that have the higher ERAs. And their ERAs aren't bad by any means. Their ERAs are awesome.
Yeah.
But you look at the way this team's pitching. I mean, your two best pitchers so far statistically are your two youngest pitchers that aren't starters. Well, haven't been starters in their career. So I also do think that, we're getting to the point with this team where, you can't be too upset with losses like this. They're going to lose games.
This is more annoying than anything. Like, this isn't one of those, it's not one of those losses where you want to throw a cup at a wall, because I've had many of those kinds of losses that we've like. This was just one of those, oh well, all right, let's get them tomorrow. Okay.
But it's exactly like they've when they lose a game like this, is it annoying? Yes. But when you look back on the last week and you can say, oh, well, you know what? They did not lose a game in a week. They literally haven't lost in a week. I can live. I'll live with that. Like I'll take the crappy loss. It does happen, and it is annoying because the win's right there. And again, like I do say, these wins still count in October, in November. Like, when you need these wins and they count towards getting into the postseason and being a first place team, these wins are going to count later on in the season. So it's not like the win it doesn't mean anything, and it's not like it doesn't annoy me to lose this game, but these games are going to happen. It's a 162 game season. You're going to lose games late. You're going to have blown saves. And when it comes to blown saves, they've been super lucky this year.
Yeah.
Like that, like this was the first one. And if the first one, if you told me in spring training that the first blown save was going to occur May 20th, I would have signed for that. So you know what? You take what you can get. It's annoying, but it happens. I do want to award the offense. And it's funny how if you listen to the broadcast in the ninth inning, when Soto gets on and they have Judge coming up, you're like, oh, they're going to find a way to do this.
Right.
And they don't get it done, and you're a little surprised.
Yeah.
I wanted to get your thought, and this is the question that I want to add the fans for in our comments. Have you guys seen enough of Verdugo in the 4-hole? Now, he did play really well today, and he did have a home run, and he did look well today. But do you think he fits that slot? I think they don't want to pound up Judge and Stanton lefty behind each other. But do you think, is Verdugo a true 4-hitter to you?
No, I don't think he is.
I
don't mind him being there, but I don't think of him as a true 4. I think Stanton. I think Rizzo. I would mind Verdugo. Well,
I would actually, to be honest with you, I think the best move here is I would flip Rizzo and Verdugo. That's what I think works the best.
Okay.
Like the lefty spot, you put Rizzo in there. You don't really change anything in the lineup. I think Verdugo is a better service lower in the lineup, personally. And I think Rizzo, with the more pop that he has, I think the reason is you don't want to put two guys that are fairly slow on the bases back to back in the lineup with Stanton and Rizzo.
True.
That can clog up the base path a little bit. But I don't think of Verdugo as a true like number 4 hitter.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that winds up changing. Now, again, it's a weird thing to say today when he has a good day today.
Right.
But I don't see him as a true number 4 hitter for the long term.
Right. I would agree with
that.
that.
And Judge, Stacey, I mean, Judge with he had 645 OPS on April 22nd. Now it's 993. I mean, he's been unbelievable.
Well, it was before that last at bat, but it's still, that's a big jump in a month. That just shows you how incredible he's been. He was named American League Player of the Week. He batted 500 last week during the winning streak. Just unreal what he's done. He's literally like that Undertaker gif where he pops up out of the coffin next to the ring. That's basically what Judge did.
I do want to say to Yankee fans, don't freak out and don't go crazy. It's a loss. It's going to happen. It was bound to happen. It's okay.
Yeah. We'll survive. We promise we'll survive. Okay, coming up in segment 2, we're going to get more into depth. More in depth.
There you go.
That's the phrase. Hello. Looking at the rotation. Look, it's been a rough night. Okay. That ninth inning just, made my brain melt. So we're going to talk about the rotation. Bryan has some numbers for you. They're incredible. And we're just going to gush about how good these guys have been. But first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button on our videos, hit the notification bell so you know when our videos go up. Also, reply to the pinned comment on our videos on YouTube from Monday through Thursday if you want your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday. Or you can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. The link is in the description. You'll get texts from us. You can text us questions. There's a 14-day free trial. I texted out like 4 different things on Monday because between Gerrit Cole's going to be facing live pitching, Ian Hamilton going on the COVID list. There was a whole bunch of stuff. So it's you get a lot of information right when it comes out because I'm on Twitter all day and you get things right away. Just snappy. Okay, again, coming up, the rotation and how awesome they are. Are you struggling to close deals? Business-to-business selling is tougher than ever, and that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligent platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and it shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedon to get started. Welcome back to Locked On Yankees. Locked On Sports Today is a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the noise. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV Channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Don't forget, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So, Bryan, how good has the Yankees rotation been? You're muted.
What else is new? I want to take you, at least I know the mic works. I want to take you guys back to last year because if you look at their numbers from last season, it really kind of breaks down how good they've actually been so far this year. So let's go over, shall we? Let's turn back the clock a little bit. Rodón last year had a 6.85 ERA, and I know you guys are all well aware of that. I know you guys remember that for sure, but he's completely turned things around. Actually, Rodón has the biggest decrease in ERA in the majors since last year. He has a 3.27 ERA as of now. That's for all pitchers that have qualified over 50 innings. But honestly, if you pitch less than 50 innings last year, you pretty much didn't pitch in the major leagues. That's including relievers and including starters. So that's the biggest decrease in any pitcher in baseball. That's really impressive. And that means he really worked on stuff. He's really gained his confidence. If you look at articles from Rodón, he said like he gets to the stadium when he wants, he feels comfortable. That's huge. I think we forget that these guys are real people too, right? When he came from San Francisco, like he had to move. He has children. He has, a pet. He has a wife. Like they had to deal with buying a new house and moving all of their stuff across the country. And his wife moved across the country. It's not that easy. Like they are real people too, and I feel like we do forget that. That could do with him struggling. Now he's settled in. He's living in New York. His kids are here. Like he has more of his routine down pat. I think it's had a lot to do with him being better. Nestor last year was on and off the IR all year. He was back and forth and on and off the IR. And if you look at his numbers this year, he's had plenty of great starts. He's been back and forth. He's really been solid for them. And Schmidt hasn't pitched a full year yet in his entire career. He's been shut down. He's gotten hurt. And Luis Gil coming back off the Tommy John surgery last year. So you really haven't had this rotation have a full year. And then you got like Marcus Stroman, who, let's be honest, didn't like the organization, had beef with the fans, had beef with the organization. And then they sign him and everyone, kisses and makes up and likes each other again. And he's been fantastic for them. They missed out on Yamamoto at the end of the offseason. They didn't get Jordan Montgomery. I feel like that was more of a, we didn't get the price we wanted on him, so we're not going to be entertaining this anymore.
Right.
But they still didn't get him. And they didn't get Blake Snell. Now, those might not being really good moves because Montgomery and Snell have not been great so far by any means, but you didn't know how they would have pitched when they were here. But you didn't really know how to feel coming into the season, did you? Like, if you're a Yankee fan and you thought they would be anywhere near this good,
no.
You're crazy.
No. You just were... The thing was, you were hoping that they would keep their heads above water until Cole came back.
Yeah, and he could lead the train.
They're steering the boat. They're not even in the water. They're in the cruise ship. Like they're like, they're like cruising along like without a problem. It's unbelievable how great
this stat was taken before the Stroman start. So I'm sure this ERA is lower, not by much because it's so low as it is. Yankee starters in their last 8 games have a .86 ERA.
Oh no, that includes Stroman. It went.
You updated that?
It went up to because it was 0.80 and then it went up to 0.86 after the home run and after So
but think of how psychotically good that is, and it's got to be said too. These guys are not pitching 5 innings. They're not pitching. They're not pitching as openers. They're pitching all into the 6th. In fact, in the last 7 games, they were 7-0 with a .80. Every starter went 6 innings and gave up less than 2 runs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's only the 5th time that's happened since 1973. Think of how good how many good Yankee teams you've had since then. How many good rotations you've had since then, and they haven't had a stretch this good literally since the early 70s.
Yeah, and then the 0.86, that's the lowest starting pitcher ERA over any 8-game span by the Yankees since September 1968, which was that the year of the pitcher? Was that when everything happened in the 60s, right?
Yeah, and that was the year they were forced to lower the mound.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 4th time since 1961 they've started this well. Now they're 33-16 now, but the only years they had better records were 94, barring a strike game. They're in the World Series. I wouldn't say they're definitely winning it, but they're in the World Series. I mean, that Expo team was awesome, with Pedro and everything like that. So you don't know what they wound up doing in that World Series, but they're in the World Series for sure. If I had to give you a prediction, I'd lean on they'd probably lose that World Series because they were so damn young. And that was the start of everything. And you saw the way they lost 95. People on that team credit that 95 loss as so important because it kind of groomed them and it roughened them up a little bit to be ready for 96, 97, 98.
Oh yeah, David Cohn said that. I had him on the show 3 years ago, and he said that it was the worst plane ride of his life because they were so upset that they lost for Don Mattingly that they were just like. He's like crying for like 6 hours on the plane. He's like, it's the most depressing plane ride. He's like, but it helped.
I think a lot of players on that team have admitted later on it helped. Mm-hmm. Like losing the way they lost on the double and everything, it helped. And hearing the Kingdome that loud, it helped that team. Which is huge. I was at
my grandma's apartment during that game. I remember that. I was
I'm sure it was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. You can't even because Mattingly was my guy. I was so excited he was in the playoffs. They start off the series the way they did, and it was that weird 2 at home and then 3 in Seattle. Series
and the 2 at home that first game. I mean, the stadium was. People have said it was as loud as they've ever heard it.
Yep.
When Mattingly came out for warmups, I mean, they said it was as loud as they've ever heard it.
It was the first playoff series I was cognizant of. I mean, I remember 81, but I was 7, so it wasn't like I was.
Yeah, but regardless, that 94 team definitely gets to the World Series. Now, do they win it or not? Who knows? That Expo team was a veteran team.
They were really good, yeah.
Yeah, so you don't know. But, I mean, regardless, you look at these teams, 94, 98, obviously one of the greatest teams to ever step on the field, and 22, where they started off on the same pace as the 98 team. So they're currently now on the same pace as that team. That's as good as they've been. This team's going to win over 90 games. It's going to win north of 90 games. They should compete for the division all year. Look at how good Gil has been. He's been as good as Cole was last year, and I'll compare this at the end just so we have this going into the next segment. Luis Gil, actually, I want to highlight this before we go into the next segment. I'm gonna compare how good he was to Cole in the next segment so you guys can hear that, because you really should stick around to hear how comparable the stats are, because it's actually scary how good Gil has been and how good Cole has been. But just be of note, you may not look at Luis Gil as this elite pitcher in the game of yet, or this top tier arm, and that's fair. I don't think he is necessarily looked at there yet. But just realize Luis Gil right now is a top 5 pitcher in the game. And the guy who won the Cy Young last year, his numbers are completely comparable to Luis Gil. And you'll hear those numbers on the other side of the break because you'll be alarmed at how good they are. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get into action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you just watch the winnings roll in. We're nearly 2 months into baseball season, so don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your PrizePicks entries. It's whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, first inning runs. You can really pick anything you want, and that's for more or less. Add them to your PrizePicks entries today. I'm going to go on a double Yankees parlay with tomorrow's, because you got to pick the 2 entries. And a lot of people are very hesitant to take the first run, the run in the first inning. It's a very weird bet. It doesn't always hit. The Yankees, though, have the most home runs in the first inning this year. And they had the most runs scored in the first inning this year. So I like them to be able to bounce and get a home run in the first inning here. You can get that with pretty decent odds. With the Yankees scoring, you look at their rotation, right? They're going up against Wu tomorrow. It's only his 3rd start. He went 5 innings in his last game. He's been good so far, but this is the first time he's going to see hitters like Juan Soto and Aaron Judge all in the first inning. You combine that with a Clarke Schmidt over 5.5 strikeouts. It's a juicy little bet right there. Get you involved in the Yankee game and get you making some money before you turn to Locked On Yankees to close out your night when it goes up at midnight. All you got to do is download the app today and enter code Locked On MLB for a first deposit match of up to $100. Again, that's $100 right in your account, a first deposit match. It's Locked On MLB, all one word and all lowercase letters. Get that first deposit match of up to $100. Join PrizePicks today. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. But guess what? You can also find it now on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On. Plus, you get our national shows that are covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. And remember that you can catch every single pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. All you have to do is download the SXM app and search the word Yankees, and it's right there. Stacey, before we get into the Game 2 matchup, which I teased a little bit, I want to discuss what Gil's numbers are compared to Cole's, because it's quite alarming. And we did see last year Cole having an all-time great year and winning a Cy Young and having one of the better Yankees pitching years we've ever seen. Let me remind you where Cole was at this point in the season last year. They were on the same amount of innings pitched. I think they were off by like 4 or 5 innings. They were on the same amount of innings pitched, same game started. Cole had given up 41 hits at this point. He had given up 14 earned runs, 18 walks, 62 Ks, 2.22 ERA with a 2.01 batting average against. Now, I'm going to compare those to Gil right up front, but I'm going to read you Gil's numbers first. And I want your legitimate reaction. Gil at this point, 26 hits, 13 earned runs, 27 walks, 62 Ks, 2.39 ERA with a 152 batting average of opponents against. Let's go to the batting average first. Those are the last 2 numbers. Stacey, he's 50 points below what Cole was last year.
That's crazy.
And Cole was unhittable last year. That's how good Gil has been. And again, I feel like when we know what kind of fans the show has at this point. When you look at this team and you watch them every single day, you almost lose track of how good they actually are when guys are pitching this well. Cole has given up 14 hits at this point, like 41 hits at this point last year. Gil has given up 26 hits at this point this year. 26 hits. So Cole was letting guys on base. Cole had given up 14 earned runs. Gil is at 13. I mean, you go through these numbers. I mean, Cole with a 2.22 ERA. Gil's is 2.39. Very similar. 27 walks for Gil. Cole had 18. So, Cole did better on the walk department. 62 strikeouts for Cole, 62 for Gil. And that's what's impressive, too, because Cole is one of the premier strikeout arms in all of Major League Baseball.
And that was when Cole had a rough May. Like, May was like his worst month of 2023. And then he bounced back and was just mowing everyone down for the rest of the season. So this is really impressive, honestly.
And again, I feel like when you watch it every single day, you don't actually sometimes have time to sit back and realize how good they're actually pitching.
Yeah.
And that's the purpose that we like to serve for you guys. We're going to continuously remind you all year how these guys are doing, and you can give you guys a good perspective on how they're pitching. But I mean, Schmidt goes much longer into games now, and I think that needs to be said too, because we were up on it and we were hyped on it originally, saying he wasn't going deep enough into games. He's fixed that problem because he goes deep into the games every single game now, much longer. He's got a 2.49 ERA, and that's the second lowest on the team behind Luis Gil. So you're really starting to see these guys come into form. They have the 2 lowest ERAs in the team. And speaking of that, tomorrow Clarke Schmidt will pitch for the Yankees. 5-1, 2.49 ERA. What are you looking to see against Bryan, who pitches tomorrow?
I'm looking for Schmidt, not necessarily to duplicate what he did the last time, because that was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, if he could, that'd be great. But I just don't want him to take too much of a step back from that start. I just want him to keep doing what he's doing. Again, like I said earlier in the show, none of these guys want to be the one to ruin the streak that the starters have. And they're all, Clarke Schmidt's very competitive. And I think he's going to come out and shove tonight.
And that's a good thing. We cited it a little bit earlier, but the competitive nature of these guys and competing with each other in the rotation, not wanting to be the guy that lets the rotation down and lowers the numbers, that's a key. That's a big key. The professional athletes, these guys are really competitive at nature. And if you get these guys continuously to compete with each other as a rotation, and then you add a bulldog like Cole into the middle of that, that's really huge. So I like that kind of attitude that's being built out of this rotation. You're having all these guys compete for the lower ERA, getting that out of Schmidt, again, going up against a team that's good, not great, but it's more interesting. I like to see this rather than a White Sox start, where the White Sox are terrible. I want to see him go up against a team like Seattle that can score runs and see what these guys do. Because, I mean, Stroman went up against the game 1, and you can't blame the loss today on Stroman. Stroman was fantastic. You want to see these guys keep going, and you want to see them remain competitive.
I would agree with that. We'll see what the offense does against this Woo guy, but he's only pitched 9 innings, so basically a start.
He's very new on, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's raise his ERA a little bit.
Yeah. Please, let's do that, because if the Yankees lose on Tuesday, then people will start panicking. I knew this was going to happen. Forget it. We don't want that. Don't do that, guys.
We'll keep you at bay. Don't worry.
Yeah. One more time. You can join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. There's a link in the description under our YouTube videos and a 14-day free trial. You'll get text from us. You can text us questions, or you can leave your questions under the pinned comment also below our YouTube videos to get your questions answered for Fan Mail Friday. We do it every week. It's a lot of fun. This Friday's episode, actually, I didn't even tell Bryan about it. It's going to be interesting because we're going to be recording with Javi from Locked On Padres, because we're going to talk about the upcoming Padres series.
I can't wait to meet him.
You're going to meet Javi. It's going to be fun. So we'll still answer your questions for Fan Mail Friday. It'll still be Fan Mail Friday, but we'll also have Javi on. And remember, you can catch every pitch of the Yankees hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Yankees. So that'll do it for this edition of Locked On Yankees. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias.
And I'm Bryan McKeon. We'll see you guys tomorrow.